Chosen one, this message didn't find you by accident. God led you here for a reason. You may feel like you're in a quiet place right now, unseen, unheard, misunderstood. But hear this clearly. Heaven hasn't gone silent. God is speaking directly to you. You're not being ignored. You're being entrusted. What's coming next in your life is not public yet because it's sacred. The instruction you're receiving is for your ears only. Not everyone around you can handle the vision. Not everyone deserves to be in the room where God downloads his next move. And that's why the divine instruction is coming to you quietly. It's not to be broadcasted, debated, or explained. It's to be obeyed. Let's break this divine revelation down into 7 chapters. Before we dive deep into this prophetic message, take a moment, like, share, and subscribe. This isn't just content. This is a divine confirmation for the chosen ones who have been walking through silence, warfare, and hidden preparation. This is heaven's reminder that you're not forgotten, you're not behind, and you're certainly not alone. And to those of you who have been faithfully supporting through super thanks and sowing into this sacred space, God bless you richly and abundantly. Whether you're giving, praying, commenting, or simply tuning in with a heart open to God, your obedience and your alignment are being recorded in heaven. Your faithfulness does not go unnoticed in the spirit realm, and it's activating harvests you can't even see yet. Now, if your spirit feels this frequency, if something deep within you is saying, "This is for me," then I want you to type 77 in the comments right now. That number is not random. It's a sacred signal to the Most High and to the universe that you're ready. Ready to receive the divine partner, the divine provision, and the divine relocation that's already been written into your scroll. Not everyone will make it to the end of this message. This message is for the truly chosen, those whose spirits are tuned in, whose ears are open, and whose hearts are aligned. The ones who've gone through too much to ignore divine timing. The ones who've wept in silence, obeyed without applause, and trusted when it didn't make sense. This isn't something you just hear once and forget. No, this is a living word. It breathes, it shifts, it awakens something eternal within you. This is a spiritual blueprint unfolding in real time, layer by layer. Watch it again when your spirit stirs. Let it wash over you in moments of doubt. Because each time you listen, another layer of divine truth will rise to the surface. Chapter 1. God is giving you a private instruction before a public elevation. Chosen one, before every major move of God, there is a quiet moment, a sacred pause, where heaven speaks in private to those who are set apart. This is where you are right now. You're not being delayed, you're being briefed. And that briefing isn't public, it's private. Look at the pattern throughout Scripture. Noah didn't ask for public consensus before building the ark. He followed a divine instruction that made no earthly sense. While others laughed, mocked, and questioned, he built in silence. And in the end, it wasn't their opinions that saved him. It was his obedience. Moses didn't bring a committee up the mountain. He didn't live stream the encounter or take a crowd to witness the burning bush. He went alone. And it was in that solitude where God released the assignment that would break generational bondage. Mary didn't run around seeking confirmation when the angel told her she'd carry the Savior. She pondered the word in her heart and trusted God with what others could never understand. These weren't random events. These were blueprints for how God moves with those he trusts. And now, he's doing the same with you. Chosen one, the reason it feels quiet right now The reason you feel like it's just you and God is because it is just you and God. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. He's pulling you away from the noise to fine-tune your spirit, to whisper instructions that others aren't qualified to hear, to hand you a vision that doesn't require validation, only obedience. What he's about to do through your life will be seen, talked about, and remembered. But before the spotlight comes, the stillness. Before the platform comes, the pattern. Before the revelation is released publicly, it must be received privately. God is downloading a blueprint into your spirit, and it's sacred. It hasn't happened yet, but you're already carrying the design. It's not visible yet, but it's already active within you. Heaven isn't waiting on the world to agree. It's waiting on you to obey. And here's the deeper truth. God is testing your silence. Can he trust you to carry this vision without leaking it out of frustration? Can he trust you not to post about it before he authorizes the release? Can he trust you to build it before anyone claps for it? The quietness you feel isn't a void, it's a vault. It's where God stores secrets, and only those who are trustworthy get access. You are in a holy season, not of exposure, but of obedience. You're not being overlooked, you're being overshadowed by the Spirit, just like Mary was. You're not being hidden to be forgotten, you're being protected to be prepared. So don't rush this. Don't despise the silence. Don't let your loneliness convince you to abort the assignment. You're not crazy. You're called. You're not late. You're in alignment. And what God is telling you now, in secret, will become the very thing the world celebrates later. But until then, honor the instruction, steward the blueprint, and walk faithfully in the private space God has trusted you with. Because public elevation is coming. But first, private obedience. Chapter 2. Not everyone can handle what you've been shown. Chosen one. The vision God has given you is not ordinary. It's not casual. It's not light. It's weighty, sacred, and filled with layers of divine timing, heavenly assignments, and spiritual warfare. What's been revealed to you is not for public consumption. It's for the spiritually mature. It's for the called, not the curious. You've seen glimpses of a future that doesn't look like your present. You've felt burdens that others around you can't relate to. You've received insight, instruction, and vision that you didn't ask for, but can't deny. And you've probably wrestled with the loneliness that comes with it, the ache to share it, the hunger for someone to just get it. But the reason you feel like you can't talk to anyone right now is because you're not supposed to. This is not isolation. This is divine protection. God isn't punishing you by keeping you quiet. He's preserving the purity of what he placed inside you. Look at Joseph. He shared his dream too early. He told his brothers about the vision of elevation, not realizing they weren't equipped to support it. Instead of celebrating him, they envied him. Instead of covering him, they threw him into a pit. The dream was real, but the audience was wrong. Look at Samson. He revealed the secret of his strength to someone who didn't value it, and it cost him everything. The problem wasn't the strength. It was the wrong vessel being entrusted with something sacred. Even Jesus warned us, don't cast your pearls before swine. Not because the pearl isn't valuable, but because swine can't recognize value. They trample what should be treasured. So, chosen one, guard what God has shown you. That vision he placed in your heart. It's still forming. It's still vulnerable. It's still in its infancy. And just like you wouldn't bring a newborn into a storm, you can't bring your vision into every conversation. If you reveal it too soon, people will try to kill it with criticism. If you explain it too much, they'll water it down with their opinions. If you open up to the wrong person, they'll plant fear where God was growing faith. Some people don't hate you. They just don't have the capacity to carry what you carry. They don't dislike your calling. They just don't understand the cost of it. You're not meant to shrink your vision to make others comfortable. And you're not responsible for convincing anyone to believe in something they weren't anointed to see. So, obey in silence. Move in discretion. Protect the oil. Let God be the one who unveils what you're building in secret. Because when the time is right, the vision will speak for itself. The fruit will prove the root. The evidence will silence the doubters. And those who once couldn't handle what you carried will witness what happens when a chosen one obeys God quietly but completely. Stay covered, stay hidden, stay obedient, because what's been shown to you isn't for everyone, it's for the anointed. Chapter 3. Quiet obedience is a sign of spiritual maturity. Chosen one, real obedience is not loud. It doesn't demand recognition. It doesn't need a stage. In fact, the highest form of obedience often happens in silence, when no one sees you, when no one applauds you, and when no one even understands what you're doing. Obedience is not just about what you do. It's about how and why you do it. Anyone can follow God when the lights are on, when the crowd is cheering, and when the blessings are flowing. But true maturity is when God tells you to move, and there are no claps, no confirmation, no clarity, and you still move anyway. That's the kind of obedience that makes heaven take notice. That's the kind of faith that unlocks divine destiny. Because let's be honest, loud obedience often seeks validation. It wants eyes. It wants approval. It wants others to say, "Look how faithful they are." But silent obedience, it just wants alignment. It wants the will of God. It doesn't care about optics. It cares about order. When you obey God in the quiet, when you take the step no one understands, when you carry out the instruction no one else heard, heaven sees you. Heaven doesn't need your announcement. It's looking for your agreement. It's not about being seen. It's about being in sync with the Spirit. Chosen one, if you can obey without needing to be praised, if you can act without needing affirmation, if you can build without needing applause, then you're walking in true spiritual maturity. Because God can trust someone like that. He can trust you with deeper things. He can give you secrets because He knows you won't turn them into status. You see, spiritual immaturity always seeks visibility, but spiritual maturity is willing to be hidden, if that's what obedience requires. God hides those He loves, and He reveals them when the time is right. When He whispers, you listen. When He nudges, you move. When He hides you, you don't beg to be seen. That posture, that heart, that's the kind of spirit God elevates. There are some levels of favor and responsibility you'll never access until you prove that you can handle quiet instructions with loud faith. Faith that moves in the dark. Faith that doesn't need confirmation. Faith that doesn't need a crowd to keep going. That's maturity. That's alignment. That's the posture of someone ready for more. So if you've been wondering why God hasn't made it public yet, why your name hasn't been called yet, why your gift hasn't been celebrated yet, it might just be because He's measuring your maturity by your obedience in silence. And when you pass this test, He'll unlock the next. So keep moving quietly. Keep obeying in the unseen. Because what you do in private, God is preparing to reward publicly. Chapter 4. This move is strategic, and it's time-sensitive. Chosen one, what you're being instructed to do right now may not make complete sense to your logical mind. It may feel sudden, unplanned, or even uncomfortable. But spiritually, it's right on time. There are some divine instructions that don't come with explanations. They come with urgency. And this is one of those moments. Heaven is moving in real time on your behalf. The atmosphere is shifting. Angels are being dispatched. Rooms are being prepared for your arrival. People you haven't even met yet are being stirred to favor you. Resources are moving in your direction. But for this divine plan to fully activate, God needs you to move too. Not tomorrow, not when you feel more confident, not after another sign. Now, you don't have the luxury of delay in this season. Delay is dangerous when destiny is at the door. What may seem like a simple step is actually the key that unlocks the next level. It's a divine link in a prophetic chain. And when that link isn't activated on time, the entire rhythm of your elevation can be disrupted. This is not the time to explain your moves to people who aren't on your spiritual frequency. Some people will try to talk you out of it, simply because they don't understand the weight of what God has whispered to you. They didn't hear the instruction. They weren't in the prayer room. They didn't feel the fire in your spirit when God revealed the assignment. So no, you don't owe them an explanation. You also don't need to post it. You don't need to broadcast what God has called you to do. This isn't about likes or approval or visibility. This is about timing, sacred timing, divine precision. When heaven gives a word, the obedience must match the urgency. This move is part of a larger spiritual strategy that's unfolding behind the scenes. You may feel like it's small or insignificant. You may wonder, what difference could this one step make? But what you don't see is the ripple effect it will cause. The moment you obey, the moment you step out, the spiritual realm begins to shift. Angels go into position. Delayed blessings are released. Prophetic alignments begin to converge. And this is exactly why the enemy is trying to cloud your mind with confusion or fear. He knows that once you move in obedience, certain things can no longer be stopped. That's why distractions are increasing. That's why doubt is whispering louder than usual. It's not because you're going the wrong way. It's because you're closer than ever to a divine turning point. You don't need to know how it all ends to take the first step. You don't need a map when the Spirit of God is guiding your every move. You're not being asked to figure it all out. You're being asked to trust. And trust means obeying even when the full picture is not yet visible. This is not a random instruction. It's not a test of performance. It's a test of alignment. God is asking, can I trust you to move with me when it matters most? This is the kind of obedience that separates the called from the chosen. This is the kind of movement that opens doors no man can shut. Right now, you may feel like you're standing at the edge of something big, something unfamiliar, something holy. And you are. What you do next carries weight. It carries consequences. It carries legacy. Because your obedience isn't just about you. It's about what's connected to you. It's about the generations behind you and the impact ahead of you. Chapter 5. You're being tested with sacred instructions. Chosen one. This moment in your life is not ordinary. It may feel quiet on the outside, but in the spirit realm, it's loud, it's active, it's strategic. Right now, you are being tested, not for performance, but for trust. This is not about how well you can execute. It's not about how gifted you are. It's not about how much you know or how impressive your resume looks. This test is much more intimate. It's about your posture before God when no one is looking. It's about your capacity to carry something sacred without making it public. God is asking deep questions in this season. Can I give you revelation without you turning it into content? Can I show you something in the Spirit without you rushing to share it online? Can I anoint you with power and keep you in the shadows until I say you're ready? Can I entrust you with secrets and be confident you won't trade them for applause? This is not a punishment, it's a promotion in disguise. The silence you're sitting in isn't rejection, it's refinement. Your silence is not weakness, it's spiritual discipline. Your ability to sit with the instruction, to carry it quietly, and to walk it out without needing anyone to notice. That's what qualifies you for elevation. You're not just being tested for what you can do, you're being tested for what you can carry. Because before you carry nations, before you lead movements, before you speak to crowds, God wants to see if you can carry Him, His voice, His instructions, His timing. Can you walk when you don't know the destination? Can you move when you don't understand the outcome? Can you trust the process when nothing around you looks like the promise? These are the tests that separate the gifted from the trusted. These are the sacred evaluations heaven gives before divine release. This isn't about being perfect. It's about your posture, the humility of your spirit, the stillness of your soul, the willingness to serve without spotlight, the strength to obey without understanding. There's a reason why heaven speaks in whispers. It's not because God is far away. It's because He wants to see who's close enough to hear Him. The closer you are, the quieter the instruction. And the more sacred the instruction, the more protected it must be. Some things God gives you are not meant for microphones. They're meant for altars. They're meant for transformation, not attention. They're meant to reshape your character before they ever reach a crowd. Chosen one, you are in a holy place. You're being entrusted with something eternal, and how you treat this moment will determine what you walk into next. If you pass this test with reverence, if you carry this instruction with fear of God, if you obey without needing a spotlight, then heaven will open new realms to you, realms of authority, realms of influence, realms of impact that you never imagined. But first, you must pass the test of sacred silence. You must be willing to follow without clarity, to serve without title, to wait without bitterness, to speak only when heaven authorizes your voice. The ones God uses most are the ones He tested deepest. And you're in that testing ground right now. So don't complain about the quiet. Don't rush the process. God is not punishing you. He's preparing you. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. This isn't about popularity. This is about purity. This isn't about platform. This is about purpose. Chapter 6. The breakthrough will speak for itself. Chosen one. In this season, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to argue for your calling. You don't have to convince people of your obedience. And you definitely don't have to justify your journey to those who were never meant to understand it. Because what God is doing in your life is about to become so evident, so undeniable, and so supernatural that the results will speak louder than your words ever could. You've been moving in silence. You've been obeying when no one was watching. You've been building when no one was clapping. You've been following instructions that didn't make sense to those around you. And now, heaven is preparing to showcase the fruit of your hidden faithfulness. God is setting you up to become evidence, not just of what faith looks like, but of what faith produces. You're not just someone who quotes scripture. You're someone who embodies it. You're not just someone who talks about trust. You're someone who walks it, even in the dark. You didn't post every move. You didn't need everyone to know what you were doing. You just kept showing up, kept obeying, and kept trusting God in secret. And because of that, the reward will be public, undeniable, and undeniable. Your obedience was quiet, but your breakthrough will be loud. Your surrender was private, but your favor will be visible. You won't have to defend your decisions anymore. You won't have to explain why you moved in silence. You won't have to respond to critics, doubters, or those who misunderstood the assignment God gave you. Because when God finishes what He started in you, the very people who questioned your process will witness your promotion. The ones who called it foolish will see it was faith. The ones who walked away will realize you were walking with God. There is a kind of breakthrough that doesn't need a PR team. It simply announces itself. It shows up through undeniable fruit. It confirms that the root was healthy, even when the tree hadn't yet bloomed. And this is what's coming next for you. You don't need to strive to be seen. You don't need to fight for recognition. You don't need to chase validation. Because when God does it, it will carry His signature. It will carry His favor. And no one will be able to deny that it was Him. The same people who said you were crazy will say you were chosen. The same voices that mocked your silence will have to honor your emergence. The same ones who dismissed your hidden season will witness your divine manifestation. Because this breakthrough, it's not just a reward, it's a revelation of who you really are, of who God has been molding in the secret place, of what happens when a soul obeys without needing the spotlight. So rest in this, chosen one. You don't have to argue. You don't have to prove. You don't have to rush. The fruit will speak. The outcome will testify. The elevation will confirm everything heaven already knew about you. And the blessing that's about to manifest, it will be too obvious to deny, too precise to fake, and too holy to ignore. Chapter 7. Stay hidden until God reveals you. Chosen one, there's a reason why it feels like the world can't quite see the real you right now. There's a reason you feel covered, overlooked, or even forgotten. There's a reason why your name hasn't been called, your gift hasn't been fully recognized, and the spotlight hasn't found you yet. And it's not because you're not ready by the world's standards. It's because God hasn't said now yet. And when God hasn't spoken, your only job is to stay hidden, stay obedient, and keep walking in silence. He's not punishing you. He's protecting you. He's preserving what He's building in you. You may feel ready for the stage, but God is more concerned with your one foundation. You may feel qualified to lead, but God is making sure your one character is just as strong as your calling. You may be tired of the hidden place, but the hidden place is where true warriors are formed, mantles are shaped, and destinies are sealed. Even Jesus, the Son of God Himself, stayed hidden for 30 years. 30 years of silence, 30 years of preparation, 30 years of no miracles, no crowds, no attention, until the appointed time. David was anointed by Samuel while he was still in the field tending sheep. No palace, no crown, no title. He was chosen in private before he was celebrated in public. Esther was set apart and prepared behind the scenes before she ever stepped into her assignment as queen. She was being trained in silence for a deliverance moment that would affect an entire generation. You're in good company, because the ones God hides the longest are often the ones He plans to use the loudest. The ones who stay obedient in silence are the ones heaven reveals with power. This season of silence is sacred. It's not empty, it's holy. It's not pointless, it's divine strategy. You're not just waiting, you're being shaped. You're not just hidden, you're being fortified. God is stripping away the need for validation. He's severing every desire to be seen prematurely. Because when it's time for you to be revealed, it will be God who does it, not man. And when God reveals you, no one will be able to shut the door. He opens. No one will be able to ignore what He's doing in your life. No one will be able to take credit for what heaven releases through you. This is why you can't force your moment. You can't chase platforms. You can't manufacture elevation. You can't rush what only divine timing stars can deliver. You must trust that the same God who gave you the instruction is the same God who will give you the platform when the time is right.